Hey there, y'all. This is Jack, and today we're discussing Demon Slayer Season 4, Episode 1, Hashira Training Arc. And I was pleasantly surprised by this episode. I really was. The last episode of Season 3, I was like, oh man, I have a bad feeling about this. The swordsmiths, staying in the village, but turns out no, they're actually going to move away, which I'm glad they said that in this episode because it did seem like in the last episode they were going to stay, but no, they're leaving. Thank goodness, right? All right, let's just dive right into the episode review, shall we? As we cut to the first episode with Hashira training arc, which we get only in anime, only seen. It's not in the manga. I mean, it could be in the future parts of the manga because it's interesting because two of the Hashira see the Infinity Castle, so I'm curious if they'll see that later in the manga. Because again, I am not reading ahead. I'm just sticking to the anime only, and so that they saw that, and then they're clearly gonna see it later on if they survive, right? But yeah, it was just very interesting. They didn't add that the wind and serpent Hashira. I'm gonna say that because if I try pronouncing their names, I'm not gonna pronounce it right. Like Sanami. I'm sure I said his name wrong. And Obadai. I'm sure I said his name wrong too. But they're obviously going to an abandoned castle. They go take out a bunch of demons trying to save this girl. Good stuff, I gotta say. And there was the CGI not great, of course. It's not great, but a lot of the demons, there's some this same image of a demon, just look the same. Look like they just copied and pasted. Of course, I'm not gonna take this anyway from the episode's review score because again, it's just visuals. Of course, I'm mostly in it for the storytelling. I did catch it on though. For me, like if we see that demon that was running away from our Hashiras, if it's his demon art that he makes like demon clones that look the same, I'm like, okay, that's fine. But it was just interesting that that happened and he escaped to the Infinity Castle. And the Hashiras have no clue what in the world's going on. They thought that was very, very weird. Then we cut all the way to the title screen. And then Tandro in bed just eating a ton. As one of the Demon Slayer core medical assistants is just there talking with Tandro. Essentially just, getting the audience up to speed with what's going on and everything. And that he essentially explains, that the swordsmith are moving to another village because obviously they would, right? Because or else they'll send more demons out to go wipe out the rest of the swordsmiths. And as they're talking, he asked them, that he actually asked about Nezuko, how's Nezuko, like how in the world she doing that? And Tanjiro was like, I really don't know, but I'm glad to see that my sister's actually up about and able to walk in the sun again. And then we cut to some more of the comedic moments, which again it's just hilarious. With Zenitsu, he sees the girls and then he sees the other one that might be Inosuke's girlfriend in the future. I have no idea. The one with pigtails, and then he sees Nezuko, and I'm not. I laughed. I laughed pretty. I'm not gonna lie. I laughed. It was funny. All right. When he sees Nezuko, and he's so happy to see her, and then she says, "Welcome back, Inosuke." It was so funny. I was watching this at work too. Obviously before work, before I clocked in. I was laughing, man. It was so funny. And then obviously Zenitsu's pretty angry at this, obviously, as he wants to go kill Inosuke. Then we learn it's because Inosuke managed to get back before Zenitsu, and he spent most of his time just training in Nezuko to say his name. It was just so funny. I enjoyed it. I really, really liked it. It was good stuff there. Just comedic moments. It works well here. Then we cut to the Hashiras gathering together as they're speaking. What in the world does Master want? And his name is Kagaya. Kagaya. I am so sorry. I'm gonna refer to him as the Master. All right, I tried. And yeah, the Hashira are getting together. Wondering what's going on here. And then the Master's wife appears. She kind of says, she's sorry that he can't arrive. His condition is worsening, so he's not gonna be able to get out of bed no more. And it just makes me think: is he like again? This is just me speculating. Is he gonna die before they kill Michael Jackson? Maybe. I don't think so. He might though. I wouldn't be surprised if he did, but I think he'll probably die like right after Michael Jackson dies. Probably something like that. But I don't know, right? And then Of course, all the Hashira obviously bow, in respect for the master, saying, it's all right, send our well wishes and prayers that he'll be able to last, at least one day longer. So, like, I like that. I like Hajime a lot. Hajime's pretty cool, Stone Hashira. And then they continue speaking about that the crows, Mitsuri's and Takito's crows, essentially said, yeah, they let the master and the wife know essentially that when they were fighting, they got marks on them. Essentially, they're called Demon Slayer marks. I might refer to them as curse marks because that's just what me and my friends have been calling them, curse marks. And they're kind of surprised. Mitsuri and Takito are surprised to hear this, but they're like, okay, yeah, it does make sense because they did feel a lot stronger at a certain point in fight. And then the master's wife says that the way how people usually manifest the curse marks is essentially that it's not that someone just is able to do it. It's just that usually when someone does it through the first sun breathing Hashira or swordsman, I should say, usually it has his the people around him also manifested too. And so they're curious to how Takito and Mitsuri are able to do, and they do say that Tanjiro, as they're aware, is the first one able to do it between all of the human fighters that we know that are currently around. And very interesting that they know that, because I guess a crow could have seen it when Tanjiro was beheading the sixth upper moon. I mean, it's possible. I don't deny that. So, all right, I'll let that go. And then they kind of ask, okay, Matsuri, how was it? Matsuri kind of goes off on a spiel, just making a bunch of battle noises similar to Tanjiro, and everyone's like, "What in the world?" And even Serpent Hashira was kind of like, "Oh boy, man, this is a bit embarrassing." And Matsuri gets so embarrassed, and Takito like essentially explains, "All right, this is how it went." That essentially that he explains that essentially his temperature went at such a high degree that essentially a normal person would probably be dead at that point, to be honest. Which surprises the other Hashira. Like, wait, what? Really? Even uh, the butterfly, the insect Hashira. I forgot her name. What in the world? Oh, I was just saying it. I was just talking about it earlier, Demon Slayer. But all right, the insect Hashira. She's essentially saying, that's impossible. But Takito says, well, when you're in a battle of life or death, your body's either gonna adapt or you're gonna die, and the body adapted to being able to achieve this and survive and be able to overcome an upper moon demon. And when Hashira's like, that's kind of simple, ain't it? And Giyu's like, I envy you, simple minded for thinking that's simple. And Win's like, what'd you say? And and he's like, oh no, none. It was pretty funny. And then the Hashiras are essentially like, all right, so we gotta essentially get on to what we gotta do. And then they say something. The master's wife essentially says, "All right, before it's already too late for you that have already attained the Hashira mark. But for those of you that don't have the Hashira mark, I gotta give you a warning, and we don't get the warning. I obviously think I think my immediate thought was that okay, probably shortens your lifespan. I'm not gonna lie, that's a good trade off. I gotta say, especially when it's making your body just rapidly beat its heart so fast to just give you a boost of power. Okay, I accept that. I actually do like that. Um, and then as they leave in the Hashira, like, all right, it's time to speak. But then the water Hashira essentially like, nah, I gotta get going. And Wind Hashira was like, oh really? Where do you think you're going? And yeah, Water Hashira was like, no, I gotta get going. I'm not fit to be here around you guys. And Wind Hashira was like, I don't like the way you're talking like that. This is not the first time you said it. Hold on, you're not going anywhere. And then Stone Hashira just unleashes his aura and just sits everyone down, except obviously, Water Hashira leaves. As Stone Hashira's like, sit down and listen up. I have a proposal. Then we cut back to Tanjiro getting his new sword from his blacksmith, and it's finally all good. It has a Rengoku's sword handle on it, And it's so cool because it's like a pure black sword that's even blacker than last time the Tanjiro had it. And the swordsmith is very, very angry at Tojiro because again, Tojiro, when he used the sword was barely, barely, being worked on. So even he said that even the rust was even all the way off on it. And when he got it, when Tanjiro got it, he killed a demon easily with it. And with that, yeah, the blacksmith is just very angry with him for that because he's like, yeah, it took me even longer now because I told you it wasn't done yet. So it took me so long to be able to finish this, but I finally got it to you. So take care and everything. And Tanjiro looks at the sword, and the sword just has the simple word on it, destroy. Or yeah, and then Tanjiro's like, oh really? Like your night name's not on it? And the swordsmith's like, no. Usually when swordsmiths make a sword, they put their names on it, but this sword, this blade has no name on it. It was literally only meant for one purpose. Now it's to destroy the demons. So he's not gonna put his name on it because this is another person's sword. He just restored it to its full glory. And that's some good stuff there. And he's angry. Tanjiro's like, all right, yeah, if you do anything, I'm gonna come after you. And then he leaves, and Tanjiro notices that Genya is right next to him. Some funny stuff happens as Inosuke jumps right through the window, and he's like, "All right, guys, it's time. It's time for some training. All right, Tanjiro, the Hashiras are gathering for training, and we're gonna train with them because things are gonna get crazy." And then we cut to some of the training regiments with some of the, which I like to see. I like that we got Tengen. Tengen's still around training some of the Demon Slayer recruits. So I like that. I like that we get to see him training them. And as he's doing so, we get a scene of a bunch of other Hashiras training the Demon Slayer corpse. And as they're doing that, Giyu, the Water Hashira, is the only one that's not really participating. And we get again one more comedic moment with Zenitsu and Tanjiro. Good moment between them two. As Zenitsu gets angry at Tanjiro because yeah, Tanjiro he's always with again he's with Nezuko. Obviously, Zenitsu likes Nezuko, and he's like, yeah, you always have it there. You're always with her, and you're always comfy in the bed. You're not always you're not always on the danger like I. There's the good stuff there. But Tanjiro, before Zenitsu leaves, Tanjiro's like, yeah, Zenitsu, I want to thank you for the move you taught me. That move actually saved me. If it wasn't for that, I would have been dead. And thank you. And Tanjiro's just so happy to say that. He says, you jerk. Don't think saying that changes my mood, as he's just happy to hear that. As he heads off, and then a bird comes and bites Tanjiro's head to give him the news about the Hashiras. And then we cut to the ending of the episode, which very surprised. I'm not gonna. When I first saw the crow go into that demon lady's doctor office, talking to the demon lady, I was like, is that crow working for Michael Jackson? It's not. But at first I was thinking because that bird was very, very menacing in the way it talked. But I just assume it's probably just the master's bird, his crow, and essentially saying, yeah, we're inviting you to come to the Demon Slayer headquarters and essentially team up with Shinobu. I remember her name now, and team up so we can find a way to defeat Michael Jackson because he's gonna be making his move because we got a demon that's able to walk in the sun, and he's clearly gonna send all his forces after to abduct her. So we need your help. And that's where it leaves off. Overall, for the most part, really good episode, I gotta say. I'm gonna give this episode an 8 out of 10. I really liked it. The comedy doesn't undermine any of the serious beats of it. And what's serious is very appropriate. And with Giyu, I'm very curious as to why he can't participate with the other Hashira. And the thing I do think is gonna happen is that why the Hashiras, when they learn the Demon Slayer mark, the curse mark, I think it does shorten their life. That's my theory though. But yeah, if you listen this far, I appreciate it. And yeah, no spoilers. Anyway, you guys take care and have a great day. Later.